Ribbon cutting ceremony for the Legacy Farms Road North. We're pleased to have Assistant Secretary Juan Vega, State Representative Carolyn Dykema, Vice Chairman of the Board of Selectmen John Catino, Selectmen past and present, Planning Board members past and present members of various town boards and committees, town officials, Master Developer Roy McDowell and his team, Roy Blute from Pulte Homes, members of the Chamber of Commerce, contractors, neighbors, and members of the public that participated in the many Legacy Farms hearings. Unfortunately, a couple of our town officials are at the MBO today testifying for the Main Street Corridor project. That design work is being partially funded by the MassWorks grant that we're celebrating here today that partially funded this road and that project. The process of permitting and building Legacy Farms development has been truly a marathon, and Hopkinton knows a lot about marathons. Sometimes when you're in the middle of a long effort, it is easy to forget the early part. Today I intend to remind us how far we've come and what is ahead as we near this finish line on a public-private partnership. It was about 10 years ago, almost to this spring, that Hopkinton faced a major issue when Western Nurseries filed for bankruptcy. Suddenly, 700 prime acres were available for development. At the start of the Legacy Farms Marathon, the Board of Selectmen formed a special committee to explore the options, conducted studies of East Hopkinton, and negotiated a host community agreement with the developer, Roy McDowell. And I'm really glad to see a few people from that early stage here today. After prolonged town-wide discussion, the town voted at town meeting and at a special election not to purchase the 700 acres. Following that, the Zoning Advisory Committee met weekly with full coverage from HCAM and Hop News and the Metro West News, and we had many citizens in attendance the entire next fall and winter to write the zoning bylaw for the open space mixed use overlay. This bylaw passed town meeting overwhelmingly, partly due to the open discussion, compromises, and hard work of the Zoning Advisory Committee that year. The traffic light at Grove and Cedar and Main Street was the first item that was required by the HCA to be built by the developer. Next, a long process of planning board hearings to finalize the master plan special permit took place. This master plan special permit planned 700 acres at a very high level and set up conditions for the individual site plan approvals.
Thank you, Ken. You know, I'm sitting here listening to you, Ken, and I didn't realize that I must have sent you my comments last night because almost everything you said is something I was going to reiterate. Anyway, welcome to everyone this morning. I want to thank all of you for joining us in the official opening of Legacy Farms North. As Ken mentioned, this has been a 10-year journey, started in 2007. Little history, by the way, 720 acres we acquired from the Mezit family of Western Nurseries. Now, I started doing business with Western Nurseries in 1973, just to give you an idea. And so I used to drive out here, and I frankly thought this town was in the hinterlands. You know, you drive and drive and drive, you finally get here. But I will tell you, when I finally got here, and I drove up to the hill in their offices, and you overlooked the beautiful lands that the Mezit family owned and maintained, it was probably the nicest nursery I've ever been to in my life. And being in the landscape architectural construction business, I've been to many. They had tours coming from all over New England, bus tours, people coming through looking at their plant material. They had topiaries and sculptures. I mean, it was truly something special. So when the opportunity arose to potentially buy this property, I was on top of it like you wouldn't believe. It was like something special.
So thank you very much, Roy, and welcome also to all the distinguished guests that we have here this morning. And I'd just like to echo a couple of comments that I've heard so far. One of which is that This has been a very long and detailed process in bringing this unique opportunity to fruition. And we, as Pulte Homes, we're a local builder. Our offices are next door in Westboro, Mass. And we've been watching and studying the progress on the development here of the Old Western Nursery property into Legacy Farms for as many years as Roy has, and as the town has in their vision to extend this to a new open space mixed-use development community. So it's very important to us what happens here and how it's developed, and it has indeed turned into a flagship community for the Pulte Homes of New England Division.
I'd like to direct my remarks to the guests here who are from outside of our community. I want to make basically 2 points. This is great to hear people thanking each other, but there exists in the community what I call a tension, and I would add the word healthy tension. We have a little business organization in this town. We don't do a lot of social stuff, but we're engaged on a day-to-day basis with the political and elected leadership in this community. And it's the tension that has gone on over the past few years that has made this project better. And I think we overlook that a lot of times. And then secondly, I'm not so sure Roy and Ken and others have viewed what they've done in this way. And that is, Ken makes reference to the marathon. You have created a road. Just think about this for a minute. Boston is the community that takes great pride for being a running community. You have created a road with potential access to a trail system that is as good as any in eastern Massachusetts and maybe in the entire state. And I don't take that lightly. This is an extremely active community. We have 300 people who belong to a Hopkinen running club in a town with 16,000 people. We have school kids that learn about the marathon and running and fitness and activities starting at the very early grades. So you have created, Roy, I can envision the day when the Kenyan athletes come here during the summer to train, that they train in Hopkinton and not on the Charles River in Boston. So thank you very much for that. This is a good community, and I'm telling you, it's on its way to being a great community. Thank you very much for being here.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be here. I want to just congratulate the town, as has been mentioned, all of the previous boards and committees that have worked on this over the years. Roy certainly and his team for their work over a very long period of time, and Ken for taking us down memory lane. I really can't believe how long it's been, and this project has been in the works, certainly before my connections to this community. So it's certainly an exciting day. I also want to recognize the Mezza family. I don't know if Wayne and Peter are still here. I see them in the back. I think it's so appropriate. I want to thank them for hosting us here this morning. Unfortunately, we didn't get a beautiful sunny day to be out and actually do the ribbon cutting, but we're here at Weston Nurseries, and I think it's worth acknowledging the history of Weston in this community. They've been such a homegrown local business here for so long, and I know they have a personal connection not only to this project, but to the property on which this project was built. So again, a recognition to them for their long-standing leadership and support of this community.
Good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to say thank you to Roy and Baystone for investing in us and for getting us this MassWorks grant. Because road building has historically been the backbone of every great civilization. And even though this is just an 8,000-foot road, it's one of the biggest roads we've built in a long time. Last night I spent some time with Governor Baker, and he made a point of saying that during his administration, there are going to be more programs, more development, and more money going outside of Boston. And with the help of Karen and Carolyn, these initiatives have become quite evident locally, when we see the Mass Pike tolling change and how smoothly that's gone. The Small Bridges Initiative, which is helping Westboro. The Lieutenant Governor's compact with the town, giving us additional resources for economic development. And in projects like this, a true public-private partnership that's not only going to give us a nice road to relieve some traffic congestion downtown, but to infuse us with some money for trails, trees, and an improvement downtown.
It is a great honor to be here with you all this morning, and while we tried to wait out on the Mass Pike to bring the sun with us, it didn't quite work out. However, I certainly want to start by saying there's nothing for us to be lamenting about this rain. It is New England after all, and so it's all about the perspective, right? You've got to see things, have a different way of seeing things. It is very apropos that we have rain in the greenhouse, and as has been mentioned, the need for water. And you got to think about how it's going to be great not to have to shovel any of this. You have to also, just keeping in mind that, let's look at this as maybe some type of christening of the new road. Let's look at it as a way of renewal, if you will. And because at the end of the day, as you've heard from all these great speakers, this is really a celebration of a collaborative effort that has been going on for years, and that has really brought out the best in all the different players along the way. And so it is, with great honor for me, on behalf of the Baker Polito administration and Secretary Jay Ash, to be able to join you this morning. And while it may be my first kind of official visit to Hopkinton, as has been mentioned, our work, particularly through the Community Compact Program, has brought us to a lot of communities outside of Boston. And I've had the pleasure of working with your town manager on the Community Compact Program.
Let's do a fake. This is wait, whoa. The umbrella's gotta go down here. Oh, hell no. You'll be okay. You'll be all right. You too, Mr. McDowell.
Ready?
Who's got the Pulte umbrella in the back?
This is a fake gun. Smile, everyone. They win. 3, 2, 1. Ta-da!